The price just went up. It's a lot harder, lady. Here we go.
Jungle Cruise is the latest Disney movie to be a theme based on a theme park ride, and it is directed by Jaume Collet-Serra, who is also the director of San Andreas, which also stars The Rock, and it is written by Michael Green, Glenn Farquhar, and John Requia, from a story by John Norville, Josh Goldstein, Glenn Farquhar, and John Requia, based on a Disney theme park ride. And it stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Emily Blunt, Jack Whitehall, Edgar Ramirez, Jesse Plemons, Veronica Falcone, and of course Paul Giamatti. It is based on a movie, The Theme Park Ride, and it's kind of about a woman and her brother who wants to search for this rose, this like purple, or is it pink rose, and her brother are looking for it, but it's a legend that will basically make you immortal, or it'll make you, you know, basically never die, or it will make you grow old or something, or lift a curse or something. And so her and her brother are looking for this ancient rose, and so they find a tour guide, looking for a tour guide, not a tour guide, but like a boat captain, who is going to basically come and take them there. And of course they come across The Rock, and The Rock is basically, after they have some altercations and stuff, and finally The Rock agrees to take them there. And of course they go and on the cruise, Jungle Cruise. And but also they're not the only persons looking for it. There's also another character, a Nazi character played by Jesse Plemons, who is also searching for it, along with a villain who was kind of cursed by the rose, or cursed by gypsies or whatever, and then he basically is searching for it so that way he can become mortal. And the whole way, it's basically like 3 or 4 people looking for this rose, and everybody, and the whole point is like they keep coming across each other and battling each other. And the movie's actually, it was expected. Like, you know, if you're going to watch this movie, I kind of expected that. And there is a lot of cool stuff and everything. Like, for instance, like I wrote some stuff down, what I really liked about the movie, I disliked about the movie. Like, I really like The Rock's character. He is a funny character, and he keeps making puns. Like, there's a funny line about a woman he dated a woman that's cross-eyed, and there's a bunch of, he makes a lot of puns in the movie. There's a lot of puns The Rock makes in this movie. And I really like that. And he's a fun character, and there's even a great twist about him in the movie that I really liked. I thought that was well done and well made, and I wish that they could, like, would do more stuff like that. Because I was like, if this is what I think is going to happen, then I wasn't sold. But it wasn't that. I went the other way, and I was like, oh, thank God. And because I was like, I really didn't want this to happen, because I was like, okay, if this happens, then I don't, you know, part of it is predictable, but like but I was fine with like what the twist that we got. And I really liked Emily Blunt's character. I really thought her character was really well done and well made. And it wasn't like, she wasn't like an annoying feminist character. She was actually one that's like, you're glad that she's there. You know, kind of like Evie in The Mummy, or, you know, Keira Knightley's character in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, or Marion Ravenwood from Indiana Jones. I really like those character arcs, and I really like those female-driven characters. And I thought her character was really well done. Emily Blunt's wasn't. There's even a joke about her wearing pants. Like, everybody's like, why are you wearing pants? It's weird. Why are you wearing pants? Because most women wear skirts in that time period. And there's even a cool submarine battle in the movie that I really like. And I thought that was really unique. It was a fun scene. And it takes place like in like a harbor area. It's like in like, the whole movie takes place mostly in the jungle, and it's like a boat, they're like a dock area, and there's a giant battle there with a submarine, and I'm like, what? Like, it's really good. I like that. I really like that scene, and it does though feel like Indiana Jones at times. I was watching going, this is very Indiana Jones themed. Like, if Harrison Ford was in this movie, this would be 100% of Indiana Jones 5. I mean, that's how close this movie is. I mean, you have Nazis, you even have tribal people that basically are kind of like, you know, from Temple of Doom, and then you have like a Holy Grail type situation, and I'm just thinking, this is basically the Indiana Jones trilogy. I'm like, if we just had aliens, we would have had all 4 movies taken care of, but we didn't get aliens, so. And I really think that, and also what I really liked about the character, I like the villain's connection to Frank. Like, if you've seen the movie, you know the connection to Frank. Probably Frank is The Rock, by the way. There is a connection to his character and the villain's character, to where I didn't think about it at first until I saw the movie, and I'm like, I'm like, like, oh, I didn't see the connections at first until he kind of explained to you. And I wanted to rewatch the movie because I saw it in theaters and I was thinking about rewatching it. But when I get it on 4K, I'll rewatch it and I'll be like, oh, that probably made more sense to me. And there were some things that didn't kind of jive with me on that scene, but I was thinking, oh, well, I guess that makes sense. There's also Frank's pet. The Rock's pet has a pet in the movie. I think it's either a tiger. No, it's not a tiger. It's either a leopard or a cheetah. And he's so adorable. It's CGI, but he's so adorable. And The Rock is just, because The Rock keeps pets throughout the, all when he's on that ship, he always gets new pets. Whenever they'll age out, and then he'll get new pets and put them on, and that's his new pet. And he's like, he's kind of dumb, but it's fun in a fun way, and that's what I love about his pet. That was so cute. Jess Plemons is also a character I really like about this movie. He plays like this over-the-top Nazi that's like just like he's just so dumb, but he's funny at the times too. Like there's a scene where this girl's brother is on a boat and they're paddling with like one of the tribes with a woman, Maria Falcone's character, who is Veronica Falcone's character, who's on a boat. She's paddling to like safety, and then the submarine comes up and he goes, "You need a lift." And then she jumps in the water, and it's just, "My father never told me to talk to strangers." She says, "Away." And then he gets in the submarine. I was laughing so hard at that scene. It's so funny. I was laughing. And I really like his character. The whole movie, his character is a little over the top, and I'm glad he didn't play it like so serious. I'm glad he had fun with that role. Because, if you would have made it serious, people wouldn't have liked it as much. And I really thought he was so fun because he's a moron, but at the same time, you can kind of understand, like, okay, he's a threat, he's not just like, oh, we can avoid him, because there is times, like, even that submarine battle in like the beginning of the movie was awesome, and at first, when I first see him and they're introduced, I thought, oh, please don't be like this over-the-top bad guy, and he wasn't. I was thinking, thank God, and that's what I really liked about the movie, and that is really like, those are the strong points of the movie I really liked. There are some things I didn't like, and I wrote them down here. Like, I didn't like her brother, Emily Blunt's character's brother in the movie, played by Jack Whitehall. I just thought he was a little bitch in the movie. Like, that's all he ever does. Like, oh, I'm so afraid, and oh. And it kind of reminded me of Jonathan from The Mummy, like Evie's brother. But at least his brother, you can actually grow to like him throughout the movie. This character I did not like once, and I was thinking, if he died right now, I would be fine with that. Like, I would be absolutely fine. Like, there's a scene where I was thinking, okay, are they going to kill him? And they don't. And I was like, please, just kill him. Just kill him. Nobody likes his character. No one's going to leave this movie saying, oh, that's my favorite character. No one's going to like this character. That character is so stupid. He does stupid things throughout the entire film. And then they tried to even make him like have a heart-to-heart in the movie The Rock. And I'm just thinking, I still don't feel sorry for you, okay? You can try to humanize you all you want. I don't care. Okay, I care about The Rock's character, I care about Emily Blunt's character. I don't care about your character, okay? You're just an annoying little bitch in this movie. That's all you are in this movie, okay? I don't care about your character, okay? Like, he's just the most annoying character in the movie, and if he was not that annoying, then I'd be fine with it. But he's so damn annoying, and he's one of those that you cringe your teeth at. That's the kind of villain he's not even a villain. He's just an annoying character, in which, that's not even a spoiler. Like, if you watch the movie, you can see that he's like, every time he's on screen, he's like that buffoon. It's like, oh, I'm scared of everything. Oh. It's just stupid. I did not like Edgar Ramirez's character, and I just felt like his character and the villains, this is kind of a two-parter peeve. I just felt like the CGI and the villains, I just felt like the villains, they're all CGI. If you've ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Man's Chest, Davy Jones's characters, it looks just like that, the CGI. Like, they're all CGI'd faces and snakes coming out their skin and bugs crawling out their mouth and all that stuff and bees coming out their faces. And I'm just thinking, this looks so terrible for a CGI. I mean, if this would have came out in 2008, this would look pretty good. But I mean, this is 2021 and they look like this CGI, and I'm like, this is just, it brought me out the movie because I was sitting there watching this going, this is terrible CGI. I mean, really. And this is Disney. They just did Endgame and Thanos looked amazing. And then you give us this? I mean, and this movie got delayed a couple of years back, for a year or two. And they could have brushed up the CGI. And I'm like, I just felt like the CGI was terrible. I mean, not on all things. I thought everything looked pretty decent. For the most part, just the villains looked so bad. And I just did not feel any connection or fear from them because of that. And I was just thinking, this is so bad. Even the snake was a CGI scene with the snake. And I'm thinking, that snake's so fake. You know, the tiger looked more realistic than that snake, okay? And I'm just thinking that I just drove me out the movie. And Edgar Ramirez's character, I did not like it because his character, it feels like his character's there for like 10 minutes in the movie at the beginning, and then you don't see him for a while, and then when you do see him, it's kind of like he's just a traditional bad guy. He doesn't really explain his motivations. Like, it never explains why he wants the rose. Never once. And it just basically, you have to basically read between the lines, I guess. And I'm sitting there wondering, like, why does he want the rose? And I can kind of gander what he wants it, but I'm just thinking, you never explain it out to me, you know? Like, I kind of want a reason, you know, because that could be wrong. And I just felt like, you know, that and just the way he looked, and I just felt like, you know, and I did like the connection between him and Frank. I just did not like the way his villain was portrayed, you know, and I just felt like in the CGI kind of made me hate that character more. And I just thought that, you know, and there is some issues I had, like, kind of stuff that just, like, this is kind of spoiler stuff. I'm going to try to tread lightly on this, but, like, there is a scene that says, like, The Rock built the city, and I'm just thinking, how did Frank build that city, and yet he's in debt? That kind of made me raise questions. I'm like, because my niece, and I didn't even think about that. My niece actually was watching it with me, and she says, how is he in debt right now if he's the one that built the city? You know, and now I'm like, you have a point. I don't know. And then, like, a lot of things, like, you know, like, how did The Rock trap the bad guy in there? You know, he trapped him in there because there were, like, statues at the beginning of the movie. I'm like, how did he trap them in there and make them become statues? Sorry if you've seen the movie, that's a spoiler, but I'm just saying, like, how that doesn't make sense, because it never explains. It says, oh, I trapped him there, and he never explained, how did that happen? You're like, how did this happen? Did you use magic or something? Or did that your friends help you? That, you know, your jungle friends help you? Never explains that. And, you know, and also, like, also the Nazi leader, you know, played by Jess Plemons, his character gets bit by one of the bad guy's snakes in the face, and that's like a viper, and I'm like, he should be dead right now, and yet he's still alive, and I'm like, how are you not dead? At least you should be, like, sick, throwing up, grabbing to your stomach because you're dying as we speak. And instead, no, instead they give him, like, a buffoon's death, and I was just thinking, I'm so sorry, spoilers, okay, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, but yes. And that to me, I hated that more than anything. And I've also saw a lot of people compare this movie to, like, Indiana Jones, the 4 films, the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, Romance in the Stone, the original Mummy movies, with Brendan Fraser, even the Rock's Jumanji movies, and, of course, the one I compare it to, and I've not seen this one yet, but I'm sure it will after I say this, the Anacondas and the Hunt for the Blood Orchid. If you've never seen that movie, the whole movie's about this team of doctors go on an expedition to find this rose called the Blood Orchid. And when that, it can help people with cure for cancer, medicine. It's, of course, similar things that happen in Jungle Cruise happen in that movie. And this movie came out, like, in 2004. This movie came out this year. So I'm just watching Anaconda, and I was thinking, I was watching Jungle Cruise thinking, this reminds me of Anaconda. Like, I was watching this movie going, okay, if they're going to go over a cliff, oh, no, okay, there's a cliff. I bet you said, I told them, either they're going to go over or they're going to stop from going over it. But yeah, there's a giant cliff. I guarantee it's going to show up. Yep, there's a giant cliff. And I'm thinking, okay, well, they're going to, you know, and I'm guarantee you this is going to happen. And I'm like, yep, this happened. And I'm like, all right, this is probably what's going to happen. Yep, I was right. And I'm like, some parts of it came predictable, but at the same time, I mean, if you take it too seriously, then you're probably not going to enjoy it. But I really enjoyed this movie. It does feel like this movie has been done 1,000 times in a way. Like, this movie, if it would have came out like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, it would feel original and different. But at the same time, this movie feels like we've already seen this movie like 1,000 times. And I feel like we just need something new and traditional. And I feel like this was the easier route to go across, because which I love The Rock, so it's really hard for me to give this a review that's fair because he's my favorite actor. But at the same time, I'm going to review this fairly. And I will say, the movie itself is still a fun ride. I had a great time with the movie. The movie left me smiling, and I'm like, this might be one of my favorite movies of the summer, because we didn't have a great summer of movies, because most of them were shit this summer. But, like, you know, I will say, this movie, out of this, I would say this and Cruella and maybe, yeah, this, Cruella and A Quiet Place 2 are probably my favorite movies of the summer. And so I will say that if I had to grade this movie, I would give this movie a B+. That's my review, and that is what I'm going to say. Thank you so much for watching.